It's that time again, y'all. There's UFC fights last night, and that means today you get a Beefy Boys. Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 23. We're getting up there now, almost catching up with my real age. It makes me happy, makes me proud. We ain't missed a single week, a single card, nothing. And yeah, let me get Harrison on here.
Heyo.
Hey, my guy, man. Episode 23.
We are live. We are live, as Bruce Buffer loves to say.
Yeah,
We
man.
are. So I won't even tease it for too long. I got just the spiciest take to start the show off today,
Yeah,
man.
I love that promo. I love the enthusiasm. Is it like which fight is it regarding?
My battle with this box of barbecue. The Raisin Moore is better than the Raisin Norman. I'm gonna say it.
Oh man, damn! You know what? I never had the Moore one. For those that don't know, there's a legendary barbecue spot in Norman, Oklahoma called was it Ray's Smokehouse, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it's bomb right there, all growing up for years, and it's one of my favorite barbecue spots. And apparently they have another location in a town about 10, 15 miles north of Norman called Moore, Oklahoma, famous for getting wrecked by tornadoes every couple of years. And apparently they have a location there that's even better. That's impressive.
Yeah, I can't. I'm almost upset, right? Because like the original should always be the best.
Man, Moore's the low key fire spots, man. I don't know if it's still there, but me and Rodney used to fuck with aka Papa Rod, y'all. But we
Oh
used to
yeah,
fuck with Catfish Cove like religiously. Like it was like
yeah.
an event to go there, man. That shit would slap. But
Catfish Cove was good too. They had gator bites. That place was smacking.
yeah, man, I just want to take a real second. This episode doesn't have an official sponsor, so I'm gonna sponsor this shit myself. This is brought to you by Dreadful Talk Burrito Reviews. And
Yes,
if
sir.
you ain't checked them out yet, go over to Dreadful Talk Podcast on YouTube, subscribe, and check. I've been doing burrito reviews here in the South Bay area, San Jose, and they're a lot of fun. And yeah, so go check them out if you haven't already. But yeah, man, last night UFC Vegas 13. I guess Santos Teixeira would be the main event, the headliners, and
Yes, sir.
really entertaining card. Not a ton of upsets, but still just exciting on the eyes.
Did you hear Anik when you talked about the stat last night that since before tonight's fight, the last 31 fights or three cards had been 29-2 in the favor of the favorite?
Yep, it was ever since
That is.
there was like that one card with a bunch of those big upsets, remember? And then I think it was
Mhm.
since then. I think that was like the cutoff. And I know that's like super vague and not very helpful at all, but like yeah, there was a fight probably what like 5, 6 cards back, four.
It was like Thiago Moises was one of them, and then I can't remember who the other guy was, but literally only two that were
No, no,
underdogs. Like,
no. That was one of the two. Moises was one of the two, but I'm
yeah.
talking about there was a card that like they're doing this from that had a bunch of upsets on. Remember, there was like the one
Oh,
girl that had like the plus
Justin
1200.
James. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yana
yeah.
Kunitskaya got beat. Maria Agapova was the one that lost the minus 1200 to Shauna Dobson.
That's right. So it was since the Dobson fight. That's what the
Okay.
stat was. It was since the Dobson upset. It
Okay.
was like 30-2 against the spread or some shit like that, like against the essentially the favorite always won. So yeah, not a lot of upset, which is kind of right on trend, which is why you mentioned that stat. But no, that blew my mind too, bro. That was hella
Yeah.
interesting. That
Yeah, I was
made me
shook
want to
by
be
that.
fucking light on the betting underdogs.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I had four in this card that I really liked, which first guy, Anthony Burchak. If you want to introduce it, I'm going to let a little more light in my room so this red light's not affecting me so
Oh,
much.
sweet,
But
bro. I was gonna say it's a little
yeah, I look
dim.
real red.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I got you, bro. Yeah, man. So the first to start off the card, in the prelims, we had Gustavo Lopez versus Anthony Burchak, fighting at bantamweight 135. Lopez was the minus 140 favorite. Burchak plus 120 underdog. I was just saying how Lopez was minus 140, Burchak was plus 120, and you actually liked Burchak on the plus 120, correct or
I
no?
did, yeah. He opened the fight as the favorite and then had been bet down to be the underdog. And
Oh
so
wow.
I typically like things like that, right? Because that's usually the general public taking a fighter too far one way and
Yeah.
actually like helping Vegas get their money back on the flip side.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was trying to play it smart. And honestly, Burchak has a super similar style to Valashvili, who's the last guy that Lopez fought, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, the problem for Burchak was, and I didn't realize this, shout out to me not doing the best research, obviously. They were training partners for over 50 rounds, and
That's
not like
right.
not
That's
necessarily
right.
friends either, like just guys that were working out in the gym together. So it's not like they were like timid to throw. Like they both said, after, or at least Lopez said after the fight, like I'll fight anyone. I don't get mad when I fight. So it's like it's just a measure of skill.
Yeah, man, I have some interesting takes on that, man. Like, yeah, the announcers, the commentators, they were overhyping that friendship aspect of it for sure. Because,
Yeah, I think
like
training partner was a more apt term than friendship. You know what I
they
mean?
were like going just balls deep, like these guys fucking jerk each other off in kindergarten or something. Like fucking,
It's like
uh,
they wanted them to be besties.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They were definitely trying to sell that narrative. So I definitely wanted to touch on that, and then also, just but at the same time, bro, I don't know. I feel like I did see a little bit of timidness from both guys. But maybe it wasn't timidness. Maybe it was like not wanting to get countered because they knew each other's strikes. But to me, it seemed like neither guy was really like even on like the ground and pound seemed like a little bit like walk through speed ground and pound. I don't know, man. It didn't seem
Well, but
as intense to me.
it'd be like if I had to go out and try and block you on a run play, like I'm gonna know that you're gonna try to rip through the block. You know what I mean? Like I know that's the move that you are best
Yeah, so,
at
so
per
you're
se.
not gonna come lunging at me.
Right. Like
No,
I'm
no,
gonna try and
I feel it. I feel it.
just from experience, like I'm sure most linemen don't do that when you
Yeah,
play them, right? Like they would try and run through you, seeing a smaller linebacker, and then boom, you'd be right underneath them.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. But man, so I mean, it was a pretty dominant fight from Lopez. Burchak
Hmm.
didn't look great. Round one, rear naked choke, submission victory for Lopez. But before the sub, man, Lopez was hurting him with that left hook. He was landing the hands. I don't want to just because the sub. That's another thing where they're talking about they knew each other and shit. I feel like the sub was kind of like how Khabib said he went like
Yes,
he
yeah.
switched as like
It
a
was the nice
mercy.
way
It
of
was the
ending it.
night. I got that vibe of it was kind of a nice way of ending it. And like I said, I felt like he wasn't putting 100% piss missile heat on that ground and pound. But I don't know much about Lopez's style, so I don't know if that's just how he punches. If he's not a heavy puncher, but it seemed to me like yeah, like they were kind of. I don't want to say taking it easy, but I don't know. I picked up on a little bit of that. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm reading too much into it with the commentators' buddy
For
talk.
for whatever like viciousness this fight lacked, the next fight damn near made me throw up. So it's like all good in the long run.
Definitely, bro.
Oh my god.
I was appalled. Like it was one of those things where like
Honestly,
my,
let's just go ahead.
let's
Let's
just
move
go
over
to it.
to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Lopez
Lopez,
went as the favorite.
yep, gets the rear naked choke submission. Really good technique as well. Homeboy went for his hands to peel the hand. He immediately switched palm to palm. Really good right there in the jiu-jitsu for the finish. The next fight at 170 welterweight, Max Griffin, who was before this 3-6 in the UFC in his tenure, fought some really tough names. They're like
Yes.
really tough names, and it was like a pretty solid fighter against Ramiz Brahimaj, who was supposed to fight earlier this year on Fight Island. One of his cornermen tested positive for COVID like 2 days out of the fight, so he couldn't fight.
Yeah,
Super unfortunate.
and then there was like a 500-day gap between fights because like the UFC PI found like a tumor behind his eye
Yeah.
like a couple of years ago, and he was just like going through some like screening, some checkups, that type of thing. And so yeah, he was out of the sport for over a year. I mean, luckily that all worked out with the eye tumor. Like it was threatening his vision. Like it could have obviously been really bad, but he bounced back from that. So maybe a little bit of ring rust for Brahimaj, but I don't
So
know.
Max Griffin was the minus 150 favorite, and then Brahimaj was plus 125. I actually kind of like Brahimaj's odds in this because like he's a really good wrestler. But I think we saw the common occurrence of ring rust mixed with UFC appearance. Like whenever you haven't appeared in the octagon in such a long time in such a major venue, I think that's big. You know what I mean? Like I think he had a big adrenaline dump, and he
Certain
also
guys
never shot
handle
a
it better.
takedown.
Yeah, certain guys handle it better than others for sure. And there's not really a way to know. It's like sink or swim. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not.
Yeah,
There's no way to really know who's gonna react well under the lights in the
it's
fire.
it's like Dom Cruz. You can expect that he will not be rusty at any point because like he has shown before throughout many times. Like, yo, just give me a fight, I'll show up. Some guys they have to be active. Like Donald Cerrone, I don't think he could take a lot of time off and just show up and be the same Cerrone.
Or like I've even had buddies that served in the military tell me that like the biggest, baddest, most athletic, strapping dude all through boot camp and training. The first time they get shot at, he's on the ground crying. You know what I'm saying? Like I've
Yeah,
heard, like there's just no way to know how you're gonna really react whenever push comes to shove. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah, just an interesting aspect of fighting that I mean, all like fighters when they're on podcasts and stuff, they all love to talk about just that pre-fight. Like you have to be the right amount of nervous, but not too nervous. And
Well,
some
dude,
guys
that's
throw up before fights. And
That's a great point that'll lead us into another fight later. I mean, we'll bring it up. But Trevin Giles and Bevan Lewis, I mean, Trevin Giles literally passed out for his last fight because of
yeah,
that
man.
exact thing.
Yeah,
But we'll get
man.
into this fight
Yeah.
real fast. I want to know how you scored the first. I scored it 10-9 to Max Griffin. I thought he just landed a little more damage, even though it was super back and forth. The trades were really even.
Yeah, I
It was a
thought
really good fight for the first round.
Yeah, man, I thought round one went to Griffin as well, 10-9. His jab, his ability to keep the distance, especially against the grappler, like he
Hmm.
definitely made it his fight. It was a striker versus a grappler, and most of the fight took place on the outside. So, like, that leads me to believe that Griffin's, controlling the ring, controlling the action, controlling the distance, controlling the tempo, the pace, all those things that you want if you're a striker fighting a grappler. He was checking those boxes. Um,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
So definitely,
Absolutely.
and I mean, for a guy with Griffin's record, I mean, that just shows how elite the UFC is because he looked fantastic. Like just athletically,
Yeah.
just technique wise, even like the striking was crisp. I mean, he was fighting a grappler, and I mean, like I said, he wasn't really the most active grappler, but he was holding his own. Like he looked great. I mean, I know his record. I mean, you are what your record says you are, but I mean, he looked fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it
but
just speaks
I'm
to the depth.
I'm pretty sure Max Griffin. I mean, he has a win over Mike Perry, for instance. Out of those four wins he has now, one of them is Mike Perry. One of his losses is Leon Edwards. Like he has like killers in his like match history. So I'm kind of with the UFC for keeping him around for this long
Yeah, I'm glad they
because it's
did.
like it's unfair if you just feed a guy all killers all the time and never let him prosper on his own.
Yeah, no, I feel it. But yeah, Griffin looked fantastic, and it just speaks to the depth of the welterweight
Well,
division.
fantastic minus the nut shots.
Yeah, and now I was just about to get into that. So at the start of round two, Brahimaj takes a groin shot
It
so
was
bad,
tough. It was
like
tough.
as direct of a dick kick as you can pretty much possibly draw up, and he
I thought he was
almost
gonna
starts
throw up.
puking in the ring. And
Yeah.
have you ever witnessed that before? Like a guy. Well, let me
I've
ask you
seen him
this.
start coughing. I've never seen him start actually like dry heaving.
Yeah, and then I've never seen anybody actually go the full 9 yards and actually
Right.
puke. But that was as close to seeing somebody puke from a low
Yeah.
blow as I've ever witnessed. It was really crazy to watch. And that would just kind of set the tone for a bunch of crazy things that we were going to witness.
Yeah, dude, this poor fucking guy, like his dick and balls probably hurts real bad today, and that's not even the worst of his
No,
problems.
he
Like,
had a bad time.
so it's the second round. I scored again for Griffin.
Me
Now
too.
I thought that Brahimaj was probably affected by the nut shot. He only took like a minute and 5 seconds to recover, which,
Which I thought was dumb on his part. I
yeah,
thought
dude,
the
you get
ref was
you get
kind of
five
rushing
minutes.
him. Like the ref was like, "Are you good? Are you good?" Like I don't know.
Yeah, Mark Smith's
Like, do
kind of being
you
an
think
asshole
I'm
about it.
good? Like, would you be good if I kicked you in the
Yeah,
dick? Like, I don't know.
do you think this is cool? Like, it's
No,
not cool, bro.
so I,
Uh,
I thought he should have taken more time because he's full within his right to tell the ref to fuck
you get
off for
5 minutes.
5 minutes. But in the heat of the moment, you know what I mean? I feel it. I feel like the ref was putting pressure on him to like, let's get this show back on the road. That's the vibe
I
I got.
I get it. I definitely get it. I think Mark Smith's got to be careful doing that to fighters. Like Jason Herzog is great about. He'll always tell fighters, "Hey, you're good. You got time.
Take your
Take your
5 minutes.
time.
Yeah, yeah, he
He was
said
like,
that.
you have 5 minutes." And then like in one of the fights, there was another nut shot with Herzog in there last night. It was at like a minute and 20 seconds, in the recovery time. And he goes, "You're good. We're not even halfway there yet. You're still good. You got plenty of time still." Like he's
So
never rushing the fighter, which
it
I
was
think
like
improves the product.
And it just like made this handling of this situation stand out even more because you got an example of how it's supposed to be handled. So yeah, wanted to touch on that. I also scored round two to Griffin. Nut shot aside, his jab, like the continuation of the jab finding the range in round
Oh,
one, like
dude,
it started to
distance
cause
control.
damage. Like Brahimaj's nose was bleeding purely from just repeated jabs. And
His eyes were really brutal too, man. I was
yeah,
having
well,
problems looking at him.
no, he had a bad fucking night, man. And then so yeah, and then all right, and then so that was round two, and then at the start of round three, another groin shot to Brahimaj. and a no point deduction, but it
I was
was like a
surprised.
final warning. I'm surprised because of the severity,
Yeah, they're
but
both such hard shots to the nuts.
yeah, but maybe they're like not supposed to factor that in, or maybe he wasn't factoring it in. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean,
Because typically the rule is the third nut shot is the point. Like,
right.
but those were bad ones. But I
They
don't
were
know if you.
tough, like really on, like really just only nuts. Like it wasn't like a Graze going for like an inside
Yes.
leg kick. Like it was like he was
No.
trying to kick low stomach on a side kick, and it's like, dude, you just got to quit it. That's what Mark Smith told was quit attacking the zone.
Yeah.
Like you
Quit
can't
attacking the
attack
zone.
that zone.
Yes. Yes. No. That was. I thought that was a good way to word it. I thought he
Right.
mishandled the other part, but that was a good way to kind of address that as well. So yeah. So Brahimaj takes two absolutely brutal dick shots, and then
The third round,
shortly after.
my God, D-Mac, what was your reaction in the? Because I didn't know about this. Like I follow the fights. I stay off Twitter and shit though, so I don't
Yeah.
see this stuff until I see
Yeah.
it live. Dude, I swear to God,
was-
I had to lay back in my bed, almost threw up. Like,
It was so hard for me to not like text you. Like I didn't want to spoil it for you.
fuck,
But yeah,
thank you, dude. I can't believe you didn't. I would have been. I started blowing fucking Kenneth's phone up at like 3
me,
a.m. I was like, bro, you see the guy's ear? It's off his head.
it's off his head. So, and did it end up being an elbow or a punch that did?
Punch. That was a punch. That was a right
punch.
straight
Yeah, a right straight.
that literally just like hung on the ear and ripped it off.
Like, and when we say ripped it off, like it was dangling by
No
like
exaggeration.
a piece of skin, like the whole ear, like makes the Mike Tyson thing look like child's play.
Nothing. Made it look like nothing at all.
Made it
Dude,
like-
and they immediately stopped the fight. And Max Griffin steps back and he goes, what the fuck, bro? Your
Yeah.
ear.
Yeah, he was shook. Max Griffin was shook, which I guess rightfully so. Like it was like some horror movie, like gore. Like they actually had to stop showing it on ESPN. I'm surprised they showed it as long as it did. They're like, all right, let's take a look at what happened.
And then they were like following him in the post fight when they're like shaking each other's hands and he's holding the cloth on his ear. And I was like, dude, if he moves that cloth and people see it again, like you're gonna start getting like real complaints to ESPN.
Yeah, like what is that, like SEC or FCC or whatever?
FCC, yeah.
Yeah, they're not fucking with that. But so they eventually had to stop showing it. And then like all the highlights on Twitter and Instagram had the whole sensitive content, like you have to consent to view it type shit. Like, cause
18 years older plus, like
it was like fucking like war level gore, like legit. Like it was super
when we
bad.
say it was hanging off his head, like his ear was like below, like what is the? So this is your tragus, this little piece of skin right here, right? That thing.
Yeah.
It was literally down to the tragus where it was ripped off. Like the whole top was off. So imagine your ear from the back ripped halfway down.
It was crazy.
Like,
Just from a punch, which just proved that it's
I thought it was
kind
an
of
elbow.
a freak scenario.
Yeah,
like
I thought it was an elbow because I was like, how could a punch ever do that? I
Yeah.
think the glove hooked on the ear. Like I think he hit it and like the leather from the glove literally hooked
Like
inside the ear. Yeah, and like ripped it out.
Yeah, oh God, I mean, I don't have the stomach to watch it enough times to really like play detective and see how it went.
Yeah,
like
I'm
it was,
with you, bro.
It was not for the faint of heart. Like I would, my jaw dropped. Like when I was watching it, I was like,
out loud go, oh no, oh my God.
I was like trying to like it was like cat got your tongue. Like I was like trying to like rationalize. Like my mouth like couldn't catch up with my brain. Like I don't know. Like I was shook. Dude,
also,
everybody was shook. Besides
shout
him, though, he took it like a G.
I was gonna say, shout out to Human Adrenaline because he was acting like, why are we stopping this fight? And I was like, hey, bro, you don't have an ear on the left side of your face.
Yeah, man.
I like how he like goes up and feels it and is like, oh fuck my ear, and then he's like, all right, we're all right.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. And apparently some good news I was looking at after the fight. Apparently it ripped just above like the ear canal or whatever. I'm no fucking doctor, but
that's what I'm saying.
There's no gonna be permanent hearing damage, which is obviously you love to hear that because like I honestly, bro. I thought that he was like that ear was getting amputated. Like when like I said, I'm no doctor, but just looking at it, I was like, they ain't saving that. Like it was.
Well, I wonder if he is going to have any sort of like hearing loss because like your ear works like a cone, you know what I'm saying, like a funnel, like it funnels that noise in. So I wonder if they'll fix it. Plastic surgeons for the UFC are fucking bomb. Yeah. Like they have the best ones.
Luckily, he probably ain't paying for that surgery, so good on But man, so yeah, Max Griffin, short story long, gets the third round. They call it a TKO.
TKO, yeah, because
due
it's
to
injury.
Injury. Yep, is like the official how it went down in the paperwork. So he wins as a -150 favorite. Just like I said, man, Usually when a guy, something happens to him, it's kind of hard to feel bad for him. It's like, you know what you're getting into. You're signing up for a cage fight. But, like, it's hard to not feel bad for Brahimaj.
I
The
was gonna say, man.
two of the worst dick shots I've ever seen. And
Yeah,
then you get your ear, like, not
ripped,
sliced off, but ripped off.
ripped.
Like, God damn it, it was brutal to watch. It was just one of those things. It's like whenever you watch somebody get paralyzed on the football field, you're like, this isn't really indicative of the sport,
And
but
it's
we all
not
know the risk that we assume. But I don't know, it's just one of those moments that's a lose-lose. Nobody likes to see that level of damage happen.
right. Like that level of carnage is not what you're actually wanting to see.
No, like nose is leaking. Like honestly, this shit made the Sarah Alpar shit look like fucking cake lunchbox fucking.
At least with Sarah Alpar, I could watch that fight.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was just
that was a
feeling
walk
bad.
in the park compared to this
This
shit.
was like Alex Smith's leg breaking. This was like Anderson Silva's leg breaking. Like it was like some shit where you're like,
I
the
think
second
it's
you
worse
see
than
it,
that because of the level of blood and like open wound level. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
to
What
the
about the
point,
risk for infection on this too?
like man, like I'll be real. Like if I was watching this fight, if I had like a young kid with me, like I would have been a little salty. Like I'd have been like, yo, like I'm gonna definitely have to explain
And this
this
was
shit.
on ESPN. This is on big ESPN
Yeah, this
last
was
night
on Big
too.
ESPN. Yeah, no, a lot of people watch that. Like, which sucks for the sport. Like that's gonna
Does
turn.
it though? It's big
I,
exposure.
if you want to take that view of it, I think there's probably a lot of fucking folks at home, just
Saying, oh,
normal
they're just
blue
brutal
collar folks.
savages.
Well, just
Yeah,
that folks that just ain't interested in watching that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
I get
around
it.
dinner time. Like
Oh yeah,
there's probably people watching with maybe young kids, maybe their moms, maybe who the fuck knows.
it's a good point.
And they probably spent the last couple months or years arguing like, oh, UFC's not that bad. It's a dope sport of combat, and like it's just as much mental as it is physical, and all these
The
things. And
the dad finally talks the mom into it. The
then
mom's like,
you,
"What the fuck?"
yeah, no, I'm saying that took place in a lot of American living rooms last night,
It
and
had to have. How could it
yeah.
not? You know.
And I don't know, man. So honestly, that made me need a drink. I'm drinking these Golden State ciders, man. Feeling a little
Golden
fall,
State. All right.
a little autumn vibe. I've been on I don't know. I get into the fall, I want IPAs and ciders, bro.
I got claws and a stein of water.
Nice. Yeah, I got the life water over here too. We keep it well rounded over here on Beefy Boys. But yeah, man, we'll keep it pushing. But that definitely deserved an adequate amount of time because, god damn it, that's some hopefully once in a lifetime shit. I
Yeah,
don't
never
want
want
to
to see that
watch
again.
that. Yeah, bro. I'm not too interested in watching too many more. Like I said, like this makes the Mike Tyson ear bite look like fucking child's play.
Docile. It makes it look docile as fuck.
Like, yeah, definitely, man. But yeah, we'll keep it pushing, man. But god damn it, just moment of silence because that shit was fucking just brutal.
Now, the next fights, just for my own self purposes, I missed on those first two in my picks. The next three, I damn near called by the finish in each one as well. But the next one is at 145, Darren the Damage Elkins. I kind of like that nickname. I hate the chest tat.
I wanted to touch on the chest tat. Like I wouldn't want it, but like on him, like it's pretty dope. I don't know.
I mean, for the way that he has fashioned his face to just be split wide open and need stitches, yeah, it's pretty dope. Because
Yeah,
it's like stitched onto him, the words, the damage.
Yeah, it literally looks like an open wound that's been like it's pretty dope. On like whoever the tat artist did a good job. But yeah, I had in my notes the chest tat, so I definitely wanted to touch on it.
He trained out of Sacramento for a long ass time, so I bet he got that done up in Sacktown. Because
Yeah,
he trained with Alpha Male.
I can't seem to find a tattoo artist in San Jose worth this shit. If you're watching this and you're a tattoo artist from San Jose or the South Bay area, hit your boy up because I've been fucking with the wrong people. But anyway, we Darren Elkins here minus 300 versus Eduardo Garagori plus 240 at featherweight 145.
Yes, sir. Garagori is a super clean, quick, and elite striker without the best grappling skills, just for background. And then Darren Elkins is essentially the white Khabib with no stand-up game whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I think that's a super accurate description.
I feel like that was just both guys to like a T right there.
Then, but in the first round, Elkins had was it 3 or 4 takedowns? Sometimes the official scoring gets murky, but regardless, he took him down at will multiple times.
The way he was doing it was beautiful too.
Yeah, it was
Beautiful,
gorgeous.
like for him to saddle the legs and essentially get into almost full mount every time he was getting into the cage or getting the takedown on the cage was beautiful. It's what Khabib does for
No, it
anyone
was
that was
very
wondering.
Khabib-esque, and we're not necessarily trying to overhype. I know on some past episodes we have, but no, like seriously, like how he ties up the legs, how he always keeps his head above the other dude's head and like
Or
puts his weight on him. Like
mhm.
it was almost like watching like a bootleg Habib, like I said, with worse hands. Because Habib, that's what separates Habib. He can do
He
that
has good
shit, but
boxing.
he can stand and bang with the best of them. But yeah, man, I thought that was I know we've gotten kind of over our skis in the past with the Habib comparisons, but this is actually like in this one aspect.
Yeah, just in the style, like
Yeah,
his actual style is
yeah.
the exact same. Like he fights to get up the post. He wants a Dagestani handcuff. He wants you to turn your back so
Hand
he can get
control,
on your
grip
back.
control. Yep, yep.
It's like they fight for the same positions, right?
Totally.
And he's a good wrestler. Like he was a hundred and like what they say, 119-9 in high school wrestling. Darren Elkins
Hey, champ.
was
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He's a
So
badass.
he was a badass wrestler, and it shows. Like it's
Yeah,
obviously he knows too. That's what he has to do. Now he ate some big ass shots
he
in
did.
throughout the fight, though. I scored the first. I thought obviously the Elkins 10-9,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I thought the longer the fight went on, the more dangerous it got for him until finally he just figured it out.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I literally was unable to score round two because it was an insane round. It was a super close round. Classic striker versus grappler round. Garrett Gory was lighting him the fuck up on
I
the
mean,
feet,
lighting him up.
like cracking him, like honestly, guys with like lesser chins than
Would
Elkins.
have got dropped
Yes,
for sure.
and then but then it was really interesting dynamic where, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, how you start the round and how you end the round are almost more important than the middle. So this round was this super interesting dynamic where Elkins was looking great like the first minute of the round, and
Yep.
then like minutes like 2 through 4, Elkins was getting lit the fuck up on the feet. And then, like at the very end of the round, Elkins ended on top with like the last minute in grappling control. So it
Right.
was a really open for interpretation type of round, like for real, super hard to score. I legit couldn't make up my mind, but I just wanted to kind of go through how that went down and just kind of how it would be difficult to score, just super subjective. Ends up not mattering because this doesn't go to the scorecards, thank God, because I think that would have gotten messy.
Yeah.
I
Well, it's
think
funny you say it because I wrote 2018 and I started thinking about it like in commercial break. I was like, no way, because Garrett Gory's cracking the shit out of him. I was like, I know
lighten
Elkins is
him
like
up
controlling
hard.
him, but Elkins was getting big fucking shots in the
Big
second. So I ended
shot.
up scoring it for Garrett Gory.
I could
Razor
see that.
thin, and I don't have
Razor
a
thin.
problem if he scored it for Elkins either.
Yeah, I couldn't make up my mind for sure, but like I said, thankfully it didn't go to the scorecards. Elkins learned his lesson in the second
Dude,
round. Like, I'm gonna quit fucking around here on the outside.
yeah, I will say the combination Elkins ate right before he got to his winning position was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, Elkins'
Unbelievable.
chin won him this fight. Like a lesser man wouldn't even have lasted long enough to get the submission.
Dude, he got a three-piece combo and then got the soda from Garrett Gory's knee and then got the takedown and took his back.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
And
I
then
don't understand it.
he earned that victory. Like he really did. He
Hell yeah,
earned
he
every
did.
sec. He earned every penny of it. I actually was a little disappointed that neither of these guys got a bonus. I thought this was definitely fight of the night contender. And I think
Definitely.
I even liked it better than the fight that did get fight of the night. And I did write that down for fucking once. I did. I'm proud of myself. I'm gonna pat
Was it
myself on the back.
Giles and Lewis?
No,
No,
no.
Barcelos.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, 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 yeah. That one,
was
Barcelos.
it?
Yeah. But I thought that was more one-sided in this fight. That second
Me
round
too.
was
Me too.
insane. But I don't know. They're bigger names, whatever. They're trying to hype those guys up. I get it. But yeah, Elkins ends up getting a submission victory, rear naked choke, and it was a war. I don't know. I think I give this fight my vote for fight of the night.
Me
So
too.
that's worth.
I was more entertained by the fight
Yeah, that's
than
worth
Giles and
dick.
Lewis.
But my opinion is that this was a better fight. I enjoyed it more.
I wonder if it's the thing where Dana slid Darren some money on the side.
I hope so.
Apparently that happens all the fucking time. Like, did you hear what Dana said last week about Anderson Silva?
No, I actually didn't. I missed that.
He laughed when they were asking him about like Anderson fights like back in the day and like GSP and stuff like that, and he laughs and he goes, if you guys knew what Anderson Silva actually got paid to fight for the UFC every fight, you'd be blown away. He was like, it'd break your fucking brains. So they must pay him a crazy amount of money that's not listed on his contract.
How? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not
Doesn't that
a.
seem like the deepest, darkest business bullshit move? Like, that's the most
Well,
unethical kind of bullshit I've ever seen.
it honestly just seems like they're admitting the crimes every time they say. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I'm
think
saying,
it's
'cause
that
it's like
legal just to give guys bags of cash. Like,
right, because they're just keeping fighter salaries purposely low by paying the ones they like behind the scenes so that the ones that are trying to climb the way up can't see it.
Well, and I feel like a couple things. I bet there's some asshole at the IRS that likes watching the UFC fights. That's like, oh, really?
He's like, how much money is Anderson Silva getting again?
Exactly. I mean, I guess he pays taxes in Brazil anyway, most likely. But I don't know, man. Like I feel like it's kind of. I don't know if they're snitching on themselves or if it's gonna bite them in the ass when the tax man comes and knocking. I just feel like if you do an under the table deal, it needs to stay an under the table deal. You can't just go talk about your under the table deals on ESPN. Like I don't know. As a guy who's dabbled in the questionably legal arts in the past, I don't necessarily think I would operate that way. But Dana has amazing lawyers, I'm sure, but I'm sure they don't like when he does it either.
No way, dude. No way. And I almost wonder if at this point it's like a personal check from Dana to that person, because like he could just be giving gifts to anyone.
And then he writes it off on his own taxes as like charitable donations.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey,
like
dog.
when you have $400 million or more, like you get tax accountants that'll tell you some shiesty shit.
No doubt.
And good
no
on
doubt.
them. And good on
or
them.
maybe he gives them like Bitcoin or some shit.
Speaking of which, just quick side note before we get into the next fight, did you see what happened with Bitcoin?
No,
like
I know
4 days ago?
Sky high, but
the U.S. government seized $1 billion of Bitcoins from Silk Road, and then they're not putting them back into circulation according to what they're saying. Hey, they're going to sell them on the black market and never tell anyone and make all that money.
CIA dudes for sure.
Right, but so it drove the value up the day they seized them from 12,000 a coin to 16,000.
That's like a 16. Yeah, bro. When the pandemic first hit, it was down to like eight. It was down to
three grand a coin. March 12th, the day lockdown started.
Yeah, man. It's actually kind of cool at the gas station, like right at like a block from my house. There's like it's like an ATM. When you first look at it, it looks like an ATM
for coin,
but it's a Bitcoin ATM, and it tells you how much it's worth. Like at this moment, they take cash, card. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, I've never personally done it, but I obviously should have. but yeah,
dude, I rock with Bitcoin hard. There's a girl I work with that she was like, yeah, my husband back in May bought 6 coins at 4,000 a piece, and I was just talking about the Fed seizing it, and she was like, how much you say they're worth? And I was like 16,000. And she was like, I'm telling David to sell those, and like walks away. She's like this 50-year-old woman. I was like laughing so hard.
That's the main reason I haven't bought any, because it's like I'm not trying to buy like $100 worth of Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep it pushing, man. Darren Elkins gets the submission victory. That's a minus 300 favorite. But I mean, hell, that fight was a lot closer than Vegas predicted. Yeah, we'll keep it pushing. Next to the first heavyweights on the card, really exciting. Young up and comer Alexander Romanov,
King Kong, baby.
Yeah, man, versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Man, Alexander Romanov came into this fight 12-0, left 13-0. He's undefeated.
He's a beast, man.
He's a beast. He was a minus 500 favorite. I didn't see how much of an underdog the Lima was.
Plus 380. And Romanov opened at minus 350. Like, he opened it way less, and people were like, oh, he's just going to fucking Hulk this dude. Yeah. Now, I will say, Romanov's striking defense is very questionable. He just has a good chin, and he is a fucking monster. Like, if he gets his hands on you, he's the definition of he'll toss any man on the planet. Yeah, man. But you're right. Because before all the shit hit the fan, Marcos's kicks were landing, like his body kicks and his leg kicks. He was lighting him up kind of on the outside. Did you see, though, that Rogerio de Lima got a hematoma on his shin from kicking Romanov? It looked like Romanov might have checked a kick and cracked his shin. Shit! I didn't realize that. That's nice. Yeah, like right above like the like where the ankle meets the shin bone right there at the top. There was this huge hematoma right over the shin.
That is not
Yeah.
a good time. That is not a good time. But yeah, I mean, this fight didn't last much longer, but it was a really unique way it ended.
First ever.
Yeah, so Romanov, like you said, gets these hip tosses where he throws these heavyweights around like they're fucking featherweights, and he gets the takedown. He gets, I think, was it full mount, right? And then
No, I know half guard.
oh, half guard, okay. And then I'll let you take it away from here, man. You'll do a
Yeah,
better job than me.
so half guard, and then he goes to essentially like mount like what would be like twister but in reverse, right? So like a twister, you'd be underneath, you'd have one leg opposite shoulder, right? Well, he did the same thing from the top. So one leg half guard, and then locked his hands around the head and the arm, and put his no, I guess just around the shoulder, right? Because he had his forearm literally just pressed down to the guy's neck. Think about how you'd like keep a dog on the ground. Like you would just get over him and literally like press your like arm down on its neck. You know what I'm saying? Literally put the guy to sleep.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
it's
fast, like so
simple
fast.
as a forearm choke, and it's a blood choke too. It's not even oxygen. Like you
Yeah,
literally cut the blood off from him. So
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
kill a guy fast with that. Like you got to be careful with
Well,
those.
I mean, not to like take a dark like turn here or like be a buzzkill, but that's essentially what happened to George Floyd.
Yes.
It was like the knee, but it was the forearm, and like obviously not making any connection here, but I'm just saying like that's the unfortunately I wish that's not where my mind went, but when I watched it, that's the first place my mind went. Mainly because I mean how fast he went out. I mean it was faster than if it would have been an oxygen choke. Like it was like
That's what I'm saying.
so fast, and that was a trained fighter who was spent his whole life learning how to defend that. So then all my mind just instantly jumps to like just imagine just being a guy like handcuffed and then just having, you know what I mean, not being able to fight back. And so yeah, like I said, I wish that's not where my mind went, but
Yeah.
unfortunately that's where my mind went. But yeah, man, insanely effective. And they were kind of going back and forth about whether that was the first ever forearm choke or maybe it was the first
In
by
the
a
UFC, it
heavyweight.
was. In the
Oh,
UFC,
by
it was. That's the third for Romanov. That's the third time he's done that out of his 13 wins. Like he does that. That's what his submission.
it seems like why more people would do it. It seems like I don't know. Maybe the
Well, you have to be so strong to hold someone down on their neck whenever their arms are free. Like think about
you're
that.
right. You're right.
Rogerio's arms were free. Like he could just spin his shoulders. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't because that's how strong Romanov is.
Wow. Yeah, he's a really really exciting heavyweight man, and man, and we'll get to it later in the fight card. But
You know what he's comparable to for me, real fast? That's I think a great point I want to make. You know how he's like thick as shit and has like fat obviously on his stomach, but you can see the shape of his like six pack
and he's
underneath his
strong
stomach.
as fuck.
That's what an NFL guard looks like.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, that's a good
Just for
comparison.
people that don't understand or like think linemen are like kind of fat or out of shape in the NFL, they all are pretty much like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, Roman, he's so exciting, man. Like I said, he's undefeated. And he did win a performance of the night bonus for that, so he got 50 G's for that.
Yeah, deservingly so.
Yeah,
First ever,
it was
first ever
dominant.
sub in UFC history. Like,
Yeah, no, it was dominant. It was dominant for sure. So I mean, he's exciting moving forward, and we talked about this. I know we beat this dead horse, but it's a lot easier to ascend quickly in heavyweight than it is in featherweight or bantamweight. So I mean, we're witnessing a rising star, like pretty much like it or not, like we're witnessing a rising star. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, everybody looks unstoppable until they don't, right? But
right.
I mean,
I worry about him with a heavyweight that's a decent grappler with really good striking.
yeah,
You
like
know
a
what I mean?
tall, rangy, like kickboxer guy.
Hmm.
I could see that giving him problems too, because like I said, while in the short amount of time when Marcos Rosario was conscious, he was landing some nice heavy body kicks really effectively, but it just seemed to not really matter all that much. But they were landing flush.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, man, we'll keep it pushing to this next fight. Trevin Giles versus is it Bevon or Bevan Lewis?
Bevan, like Devin.
Yeah, Bevan Lewis, and this was an interesting one because Vegas called it an actual legit toss-up.
Yeah,
It was
110, 110.
minus
Minus 110, 110.
110
I
each side.
love seeing that.
Yeah, no, that and I mean, so somebody got it, got in on the right side because so Giles, as we mentioned before, a couple cards back, like a month ago or so, he was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, right? And was it Kevin Holland he was supposed
Yeah,
to fight? Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and he passed out before his fight, and I guess it's never been officially settled if it was nerves or what the fuck happened, but he just
Yeah, they
literally
never
just
said anything.
he passed out before the fight, so the fight didn't happen, and they went on to the next fight on the card, and they stalled for a couple minutes. But I'm glad he's okay first off, and I'm glad he's back in the octagon pretty soon. Yeah, man, and fighting at middleweight 185 if the Kevin Holland intro didn't give that away, and man, he looked fantastic, which honestly makes me like excited. Like it kind of makes me more bummed that we didn't get to watch him fight Kevin
I
Holland.
know, because
Yeah,
him and
because
Kevin Holland would have been fun as
that
hell.
would have been a fun fight for sure. Because he looked fantastic. Did you have Lewis winning any rounds? I didn't.
I didn't. No,
No.
I
Yeah,
didn't.
it was pretty
Now, that's not to
dominant.
say Lewis didn't land some good shots in counter, but he just wasn't landing at the volume that Giles was. And then, man, that third round, Giles started throwing hammers. Like,
And
he was throwing hard.
I know it's unpopular to like make these kind of takes, but I swear I'm just trying to report what I saw and like interpret it through my eyes and my lens. Lewis looked scared to me the whole fight. And I know he's coming off, I think, a knee surgery. So like I can't, like I'm saying, he didn't look like confident at all. Like not even for a split second. He looked like hella like, oh shit, is this did I make the
It's
right
not where, yeah, it's
decision?
not really where he wanted to be.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it because I could be wrong and tell me to go fuck myself, but I'm just saying that's the vibes I was getting. That's what I feel like I was watching. I just did not feel like he was really like that game.
Well, for this to be a completely dead even odds, I expected a little bit better of a fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Like, it was a great fight, but, like,
I don't know.
I don't know, it wasn't
I
that
found
great.
it, maybe I interpreted it different. I thought it was all Giles. And in the first round, Giles had a jab knockdown. Like he jabbed him so hard he knocked him down. And
Yeah.
then, like I said, pretty much after that, maybe I'm wrong, but after that, Lewis looked scared to me. Round two, just more jabs down the pipe all fucking day, just landing at will, establishing that range. And then
Hmm.
in round three, he gets the TKO finish, which kind of looked like Lewis was ready to get out of there to me. Like he kind of just went down. Like he didn't like his lights weren't out. He literally just like fell down to his knees and like I hate to use the Q word, but goddamn, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to interpret that as.
There were just like, I think there were three shots. Like, there were probably eight that Giles landed, and then three of them that were just clean. And I think it was just a thing where, like, Lewis was just pretty much done. Yeah,
He
where he
was
was just like,
done.
and he felt like
But
the
he
final
wasn't
one,
physically done. He was mentally done. Like his light
right.
did not get switched off.
No, it was one of those things where he's just like, he's kind of getting dazed a little bit, and he's like, you know what, I've already lost 2 out of 2 rounds for sure. Like, here I am about to lose a third. Like, fuck it. And just is like, I'm done.
That's the vibe I got too, bro. And like, I guess kudos to the ref for like, I think he was getting those vibes too. He stopped it, and essentially Lewis was kind of asking him to stop it in a way.
Oh, yeah.
So, so yeah, man. I mean, I thought Giles looked great. Like I said, I'm super glad it was nothing serious with the fainting shit because sometimes that can be a sign of something, more serious. But
You're right, right.
super glad he's all good. I mean, he got a win. Good for him. I just super unimpressed with Lewis and super unimpressed at the Vegas odds on this one. But
I know, dude. I had a buddy at work, just real fast before we get off this prelim card, because main card's up next. I had a buddy at work bet on the 49ers Packers game. Packers are only 6.5 point favorites from Vegas, and the 49ers are missing all their receivers.
yeah,
But
yeah,
and
that
so my buddy put $300 on the Packers and won 280.
nice, nice. Yeah, I am. NFL is tricky to bet on, but I feel like what makes it less tricky to bet on is betting against the team that has all their best players hurt.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
and
that definitely
and
is
Aaron
something I
Jones came back
recommend.
for the Packers too. Like, they got a player back, and the 49ers lost all those players. So I was like, what the fuck are we
What
talking
that
about?
tells me, and maybe I just listen to too much Bay Area sports radio where they like to ride his dick, but I think that tells me Vegas respects the fuck out of Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, they do for
Like,
sure.
yeah, like, oh yeah, yeah. All I listen to every time I'm in the car, how much of a genius Kyle Shanahan is. Which he's awesome. He's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know the way they talk about it. Like he's just like
How much
they talk about him like he's Belichick or something. Like
how much love do they give to Fred Warner? Because I think he's
a
the most
lot.
underrated
Oh, he's
linebacker.
amazing, and being a former undersized linebacker, and like myself, and just seeing that's how the trend the position went in, I think is really cool. former safety coming out of BYU. He was like a Cam
Yeah.
Chancellor strong safety. They moved him to middle linebacker. I knew he was going to be special. So as a rookie, he got the green dot. I think it was largely due to injuries. Or like when Reuben
Oh
Foster got
shit.
suspended or some shit. But
Yeah.
he
Shout out
got
Reuben
the
Foster.
yeah. I met that guy one time. Really nice guy. I'm really really hoping to see him turn his career around in Washington one day. But anyway, Fred Warner, he had the green dot on his helmet as a rookie, and yeah, like I don't know, like I remember the training camp before his rookie season, just hearing on sports radio, there's this kid out of BYU that's just fucking turning heads at camp, and so he's been impressing people around these parts since he stepped foot in the facility. So I mean,
That's what's up.
yeah, and they're getting ridiculous value on him. Another one of those Kittle type of draft picks where they're
Yeah,
getting an
well,
All Pro in the
I was
third or
I was gonna
fourth
say
round.
George like always talks him up, and then also I saw a soundbite from like a mic'd up clip of that game where it was Aaron Rodgers talking to him after the game. Fred Warner, this is. He was telling him like, "Hey, Fred, you're the best in the league, man. Like we all know it. We all know
Well,
it."
and I
He was
think
like, "It's just a matter of time before they put you on the first team All Pro. It's
yeah,
coming." He was like,
man.
"Keep working."
And I think Fred Warner has a little brother who's currently at BYU. Who honestly, Fred probably made him a couple $1,000,000 because there's no way he's going to be slept on. Because apparently
No.
he's like an identical prospect. He's like a
Oh,
tweener safety linebacker, just like another Fred Warner apparently. And
that's what Luke Kuechly was too. He played safety in Boston College,
really, I
and
didn't
then
know
he
that. I know
his first
Urlacher
year.
did. Urlacher was a safety. I knew that.
Yeah, so Luke Kuechly's first year was safety, and then he moved down to middle linebacker.
Wow. I remember watching him at college. Yeah, that's right. 'Cause, by the time he was a senior, he was a linebacker. I remember watching him.
Hmm.
But yeah, man, this was a really fun prelims. Really excited to get to this main card. Main card time. Hell yeah, time for that main card. Really good main card, really fun one. Some bangers on here, some good fights, some crazy finishes, all the stuff you want from your main card. Some title shot implications as well. Some more things you want from your main event, your main card. Let me get my beefy brother on here.
I mean, how good does that look?
Oh, that's meat. I was like, what am I looking at here? That's brisket right there. See that
Yes,
smoke ring,
sir.
that pink
Ooh,
smoke ring?
ooh.
Hell yeah. You a sauce guy or are you just gonna raw dog it?
Oh, I got the hot barbecue right here.
Yeah, I'm a hot guy too. I'm a hot guy. I
Woo!
can. You know what an underrated barbecue sauce? I'm gonna come in with the spicy take here.
Yeah, hit
If
me with it. Hit me with it.
you ever had like because like 90% of barbecue sauces are ketchup based. But have you ever had a Carolina mustard based sauce?
Ooh, no.
Yeah,
That
man.
sounds so good.
And just in general, I'm a mustard guy
I
over a
like mustard,
ketchup
not
guy.
yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
mayo and ketchup can suck it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Keep your eye out, or maybe order one online or something. Give it a try. But like in Carolina, I don't know if it's south or north or maybe both. I don't know. But their tradition, like Kansas City has their tradition and Memphis has their tradition. The Carolina tradition is apparently, from what I've read or whatever, the mustard based sauce, and I'm a huge fan. It's just a whole different dynamic.
Damn.
It's fire. Also, on the random condiment tip, I was at the grocery store the other day, and like it's the randomest thing ever, but it's so good. Sierra Nevada makes a fucking like spicy brown mustard, and it's
Really?
like the beer Sierra Nevada, and it's
Yeah.
fucking fire. It's like it's essentially like if you mixed like brown like spicy brown mustard and honey mustard together, like
Ooh, that sounds good.
yeah, no fire. But the beefy brown condiment hour. But yeah, we're gonna get to this main card right here, UFC Vegas 13, Santos versus Teixeira. Man, I was thoroughly entertained with the prelims, but the prelims are probably outshined by the main card. Just, I mean, the show kept rolling. It was just,
Yeah,
we
honestly.
yeah, we've seen cards before. The prelim ended up being more entertaining than the main card and all that. But I thought this was a very entertaining main card. A lot of title shot implications in multiple weight classes. Starting with these two straw weights here. Claudia Gadelia, number 4 ranked straw weight contender, versus Yan Jianan. I don't know. I'm pretty bad with the Chinese names.
Uh, Yan Xiaonan.
Jianan. Okay. And she was ranked 8th. But it was one of those interesting scenarios where Vegas kind of knew what was up, And the eighth ranked fighter was actually a minus 175 favorite, and the fourth ranked fighter was actually a plus 150 underdog.
Yeah, I honestly kind of thought the odds were a little off in this, and then I was obviously proven wrong. Um, I also thought it was a little disrespectful that these two didn't get the co-main. Did you think about that at all? Being that they're ranked 4 and 8, and it's like they actually have title implications with their fight, whereas Bozer and Arlovsky are just middle of their back end heavyweights.
Yeah, yeah, I did. I think it still shows kind of where we're at with women's sports. Unfortunately,
Man, that sucks because these two women are good fighters.
and I feel like UFC is like the sport where it doesn't matter. Like I'm not gonna sit here and try to be on a high horse and tell you that I enjoy a WNBA game as much as I liked watching the NBA finals. But like I swear to God, I can honestly look you in the eye and tell you that like when I'm watching a women's UFC fight, I'm not like less entertained. Like I don't notice a drop off. Like other sports, like women's skateboarding isn't quite to where men's skateboarding is. Like women's basketball, not too another sport where I can get down. Like women's track and
Soccer.
field. Well, no,
Oh, okay.
women's track and field is fucking dope to
Yeah,
watch.
hell yeah. I
Um,
mean, yeah, I definitely agree. I think
but
women's soccer is entertaining to watch, to be quite
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah, for sure. So there's just I don't know. I feel like there's certain sports where it translates better, and UFC is
Tennis.
definitely one of those sports. Tennis, yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I feel like UFC is at the top of that list of like sports that translate well to women. So I feel you. I do personally feel like it's disrespectful. Maybe they were trying to say it was a business move or whatever, but I am totally on board. This should have been the co-main. It really should have. But
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad I'm not
I'm
crazy
glad you
on that.
brought that up. I didn't even think to bring that up, and I'm glad you did for real because I think it's kind of a problem. Like I mean, like I said, I'm not
Yeah,
trying
because
to
it kind of holds women's MMA back,
like
essentially, which I
if
disagree
your
with.
own platform isn't gonna like respect it, then how you gonna expect people sitting at home to respect it?
Right.
Yeah, no, I feel you. That was kind of out of line.
Like if you
But
don't market it, how can you sell it? Is what I'm saying. You know.
also, another argument maybe these fights started a little bit later. The main card
True.
started at like 7 West Coast, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And so maybe they were trying to like quote unquote start it off with a bang. Maybe I mean that's maybe the positive argument you can make for him. It's kind of weak. I feel he doesn't really hold much water, but maybe
Yeah.
this.
We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. That sounds good, right?
Yeah.
But man, this
I
fight
mean,
was badass. I mean, just all politics and all that aside, I mean, it was a fantastic fight.
yeah, all politics aside, thank God, finally. Nice takedown for, I mean, in real life in total with our election. I thought there was a nice takedown for Claudia Gadelha to
Yeah,
start the fight.
yeah.
Um, and honestly, in the first round, I thought she probably won the round, although she
I
wasn't
gave
doing
it
a
to
lot of
her.
damage. She
Oh, I gave it
controlled.
to her. I
Okay,
gave it to her. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm not. I'm right there with you, man. Yeah, I
because
gave
I saw.
Gadelia around one. She had not one, but multiple takedowns, which that'll win almost anybody around. And then she has some pretty decent grapple control time as well. And it's not like she at that point she really wasn't getting beat up with the strikes. So yeah, I gave her. I have no problem giving round one to the Gadelia.
Okay, I'm glad we agree because there was a guy I worked with that was the fights were on ESPN, right? So it was just playing in the bar, and
That's
he was
cool.
watching it, and he asked me, he was like, "Did that girl win the round from on her back?" And I was like, "I don't fucking think
Oh, I'm,
so."
I'm glad you brought that up because that's what Twitter was saying. That's what the announcers were kind of hitting her on the bush. All because Jan. I'm just gonna say Jan. Forgive me.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Jan landed a couple of decent little elbows from the bottom, but they didn't split her open. Like to me, to win a round from the bottom that dominantly, like you've been taken down multiple times and you spend almost a whole round on your back. You better. I need to see blood or a
Yeah,
broken nose or
like you got
two.
a Tony Ferguson it, right?
No, like legit, like just landing a few like kind of desperation elbows to me doesn't win you around. I thought that was way overhyped.
And I
Yeah,
think it can't,
go ahead,
or
go
it
ahead.
shouldn't be overstated that when you're throwing from off your back, you're not throwing with near as much force. Like
No,
you
no,
don't have any there's nothing planted on the ground for you to throw off of other than your back.
Yeah. Boy, but I mean, we've seen people cut people with elbows from the ground. Like I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
people win rounds from their back. Like I'm saying, I've seen it happen, and that wasn't it.
yeah. That was not it. Yeah.
You need to like because you're on your back, you need to make it so like convincing. Like in my opinion, like to me, if it's like it's kind of close. Well, if you're on your back, it's not kind of close, in my opinion.
Right, right. That's
Like
how I feel because you've already lost the position. Like you're in the losing position,
yeah,
and so then if the striking is even, then you've
and
lost.
we haven't touched on it. Oh, I guess we kind of have, but neither one of us are really that big of fans of having Dominic Cruz on the call.
Fucking right, dude. I didn't.
I
I didn't want to. I
I
didn't
didn't
want
want
to
to.
talk
I
shit,
kind of did, but
dude. Like the way he talks to John Anik is fucked up too. Like he
yeah,
he just
we
bullies
talked
the shit
about this
out of him.
before. Like they need to have DC do it with Dominic Cruz because his like ego and he tries to just big dick
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah. When DC and Cruz are on it together, DC kind of puts Cruz in his
Yeah,
place, and he's like, "Hey,
exactly.
motherfucker,
Like
you
I'll
think you
fucking
know
throw
it?"
you across this goddamn field. Yeah, no, I feel you. In fighters, like I said, I'm not like trying to over like say all fighters are cavemen, but like a lot of fighters have like this like basic like pit bull kind of like I have to like dominate the space type of like just ego or energy or whatever you want to call it, and like and it just Cruz. That's all I can hear.
Just
Seriously,
alpha male energy all the
yeah,
time.
which I'm not one of these guys that like hates like toxic masculinity.
No,
Like
but
I know,
like all the time is
like
too
on the
often.
broadcast too. Like if this was the Ultimate Fighter, like yeah, give me Dominic Cruz on
Yeah,
camera all
right.
day. Like I want like big dick energy. But like in a commentator booth where like y'all are on the same side,
Like
like
y'all the
literally
same team. You don't need the big dick in.
just
Like he's not your
talking.
opponent.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
exactly.
you're trying to help us watch the fight without distracting us from it, and you're distracting us from it when you're trying to like pick on Anik.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's like, dog, this isn't like a pre-fight presser right now. Like you're
He's trying
not
to
trying.
sell him versus John Anik.
Yeah, that's how I feel. That's legit. Like this isn't debate club. This isn't fucking like locker room big dick hour. Like what the fuck's going on here? But yeah,
Oh
I wanted
shit.
to get that out of the way because I just we had to. I was actually listening to an old episode, going back and chopping up the clips. Which anybody, Beefy Boys fans out there listening on YouTube now, it's not going to be on audio platforms, but on YouTube for video, I'm chopping up the long podcast into smaller little segments that kind of like some highlight, like maybe some of the funnier parts or more serious parts or whatever, just the best parts of each episode into like little 10, 15-minute clips, and so instead of like 2 hour, 3 hour clips. So yeah, check that out. Feel free to check out the clips. They're a lot of fun. I'm going kind of working my way up to current. So I'm a little behind, but it'll get there. But yeah,
Dude,
man.
shout out to you. Just a quick side note on that too. For anyone that doesn't know, like DMAC works his ass off behind the scenes for this podcast and Drep will talk like every single day. So
Yeah,
shout
man.
out. I mean, like I
Oh,
appreciate it for
I
real.
appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of guy like when I do something like I don't like to half-ass shit. Like I'm either all the way in or all the way out, and I'm all the way in, baby. But
Yes, sir.
but yeah, man. We'll get on to the next
Second
fight.
round. So wait.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. We went on such a goddamn tangent. I'm my bad. Blame the
Second
ciders.
the second round after we gave the first one to Claudia, so 10-9 Claudia, right? You
Yes,
agree with
yes.
yeah, okay. So then I thought Jan figured it out in the second round and essentially said, oh, I just need to stay away. I need to stay in the clinch and not let her get on a leg. And then I'm good. And she, dude, like she was piecing her up in the second round. It wasn't like an ass whooping like the third round was, but
Yeah. No. I have round two. Jan. Her elite striking mainly through the form of the jab. We saw a lot of just brilliant jab work last night, just across the board from the prelims to the main card. Of fucking a bunch of like, if you're like a young fighter that was like learning how to effectively establish distance with jab, I mean, it was like a clinic for you because we saw
Trevor
multiple examples of it.
Trevor Whitman, the coach that they had in the booth, I like that by the way. When they have
I
like a
did.
really
That was
solid
new.
coach, dude,
That
he
was
was
new.
calling out crazy cool shit too.
That's like what they wanted Booger McFarland to be on Monday Night
Right,
Football, but he would just
right.
fire off these Magic Johnson Captain Obvious takes and fucking yeah. But I feel
If
like
they
what
want to
they
stop this quarterback, they need to get to him.
or
Oh,
knock down the
really?
pass out of the air before the receiver can catch it. Like, yeah, no, I feel you, but that's the exact opposite of what if I forgive me, what Trevor Whitman.
Yeah, Trevor Whitman's Justin
Trevor
Gaethje's
Whitman,
coach.
he provided just fire analysis, commentary, just like legit helpful stuff. Like I loved it. It was great. It was
Yeah, like
really like helpful.
he was noticing patterns too in the guy's movement or striking patterns the guy was displaying in the fight and was calling him out like round to round. I was like really impressed. If I'm a
Yeah.
young fighter and I'm hearing Trevor Whitman do that, by the way, that's good promo for him to get maybe some action on as far as like good young fighters that would want to come work with him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was a win-win for sure. But just as purely, I feel like it added to the broadcast. Like sometimes, as we alluded to with Booger McFarland, they try to shake it up or add a little razzle dazzle to the broadcast, and it's just a swing and a miss, and it kind of distracts from the broadcast as opposed to adds to it. And I feel
Right.
like that's not what happened here. I thought Whitman added a lot to the broadcast.
I love that. And honestly, like if they wanted to bring on James Krause and other coaches that you know are like legit really good cornermen, I'm cool with that, man. Like I think that'd be a cool addition to the broadcast booth.
Me too, man. I'm glad you touched on that.
And he also agrees with us that he had it 1-1 going into the third.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, round two gave to Jan, and then oh, I wanted to touch on this too. So it happened twice in the fight, but I noted it because that happened for the second time at the beginning of the third round. I thought Herzog was quick on the trigger on separating them in the clinch.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because
But
that's good. That's
Herzog
good.
usually does such a good job just in general. Like he's a really good ref, but and I feel like maybe he was holding the women to like a different standard than he holds the men to. Because like if that was like I know we always love to use Habib examples, but if like we're just throwing out Habib and he's like, there's no way they're separating the
Oh
Habib
no.
in that situation. So I don't know. I feel like he was maybe holding the women to a little bit different standards. And like I just thought he was quick on like the first time I didn't make a note because I was like, it's one time, whatever. But he was quick on the trigger a second time. Which and it also is important to note that whenever he separates them, that clearly favors Jan because
Right.
Claudia
I was
is a
gonna say.
grappler and likes the clinch work and likes to press against the fence, and so Herzog was super quick on the trigger. In my opinion, my humble opinion, I thought he was super quick on the trigger, not once but twice. And in this style of matchup,
I
it
I
clearly
totally
favored
agree.
Jan.
Yeah, because it's not a neutral position. Because one person wants that position and the other person wants nothing but to be separated.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagreed with that. I'm not going to go as far as to say that's the reason why Jan won the fight because Jan was doing enough on her own to be
Right.
successful in other areas. But I thought it was impactful and definitely didn't do Claudia any favors. If I was if I was in Claudia's corner, I definitely
I'd
would
have
have
been,
not been thrilled.
yeah, I'd have been yelling, like, come on, Herzog, don't. Anyway, the third, though, I thought Jan was just piecing the shit out of her.
Yeah. The third kind of makes all these other little arguments and debates kind of irrelevant because Jan pulls away. Well, I thought the difference in round three was Jan, essentially up until the third, the story of the fight had been, Jan dominating on the outside and Claudia being, pretty decent in the clinch until they were prematurely separated, of course. And then, but in round three, I actually thought Jan dominated the inside just as much as the outside, and that's
I
where he
agree.
really, kind of ran away with it, if you will.
Claudia looked tired and a little bit beaten up, too, coming into the third.
Definitely. Yeah. So but I think Jan definitely pulled away in the third. And
29-28?
all three judges agreed with us that it was 29-28 Jan.
Yeah.
So everybody else can suck a dick because if the Beefy Boys and the judges can all agree on something, that's rare. So
Yeah, that is super rare. Yeah,
I
that's
think
like a
that's
pretty clear-cut
indication.
fight.
Yeah, exactly. Jan looks phenomenal. And they were already trying to match up because the number or the champion of the strawweight division is
Zhang
Wei
Weili.
Li, and she's from China as well. And
It's a good
so
fight. It's a good matchup. You know what I'm
they're
saying? Like, do you
definitely
know the views they would get for two Chinese women fighting in a title fight in the UFC? Like, they're going to get so much Chinese viewership if the pay-per-view is sold there.
they were already trying to build that narrative. I know you picked up on that. They were
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
already trying.
Oh, yeah.
But it's
What
not
Dominic Cruz
completely
was like, she has a
ridiculous.
lot of tools for the challenge, or she has a lot of tools that are good for the
Yeah.
challenge or champion. And I was like, holy fuck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that ridiculous,
It's
but
not
it's
that. I
like,
mean, she
come on
definitely needs
now.
maybe one, maybe even two more wins, but in my opinion, because there's some that the
Yeah.
top. But I'll be real. I'm excited for some fresh blood in the top end of the strawweights because. I mean, there's a lot of really good strawweights, but we've kind of seen them kind of play roulette and all fight each other, and I'm
Your top,
excited.
top,
Oh, go ahead.
Tatiana Suarez is coming back, and she's going to be a monster problem for all
Yeah,
those women.
yeah, yeah. She's on a tear. She's on a tear. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm a big Rose Namajunas fan, but I feel like I've watched her fight a zillion times. I feel like I've watched her fight the same people. She's had a couple of rematches. Like, I'm just excited to have some new blood at the top end of
Ooh,
the.
what do you think about Joanna and Xiaonan?
Well, I don't know. The rumors, the whispers on social media is actually exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, kind of, they're thinking about maybe Rose next.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
that
I mean, I knew it was going to be someone that's like a really, really top strawweight.
top end strawweight. Yeah, and I don't know, man. I Rose is the classic. Which Rose shows up, right? She's either
Yeah.
shows up looking perfect or shows up just out of it. So it's so honestly, I've kind of learned to kind of stay away from making predictions on Rose Namajunas fights because like just when you think she's like so unstoppable, she'll just lay an egg. You know what I mean? She's had a
Right.
few of those performances where it's like she didn't even get off the bus, as they say.
And she's talked about how she literally has like a little bit of like a mental, like her, that she knows that, like she acknowledges like she is one of two roses all the time. And like that's the thing she's trying to work for the most because
Which
she's like in the gym, she's the best apparently, but some
I
days on fight day, she just can't show up.
And I mean, I will say I struggle with that. Like, I
Yeah, I
feel like
get
I
it.
go through like phases where I'll be like super on point for like 2 or 3 months, and then kind of dick around for a month, and then just kind of have to kind of tighten the screws back down. And I mean, I struggle with that myself. And I mean, but I'm not a fighter. Like fighters have to be like on point like every single day essentially. And I like yeah. I mean, I totally relate. Like, I don't get like I'm not always firing on 100. You know what I mean? But yeah, so yeah, we all agree. Jan got the unanimous decision. She looked great. Like I said, really exciting kind of implications in that 115 strawweight women's division. I mean, it really last night affected a lot.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
because if Claudia wins that, it's kind of just more of the same. You know, not too much shakeup in the top five. You know, just kind of on schedule business as usual, kind of chalk matchups, but like I said, number 8 beating number 4, yeah, like some fresh blood in that top end of that strawweight. It's a lot of fun to think about the possibilities.
Yeah, I'm honestly pretty pumped to see what they do. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
lot of options, but I
and
mean, we can keep it pushing.
keep it pushing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, to the next fight, which I love. I mean, I only loved it because I knew this is going to be what it was, and it's really kind of messed up. It's a featherweight fight, 145. Giga Chikadze minus 900. You heard it right.
yeah.
Versus Jamie Simmons plus 600, who took it on super short notice, or well, not super short, but pretty.
Well, speaking of super short, he was only 5'6", and
Yeah,
Chikadze was 6 foot,
yeah. And
and Chikadze's
Chikadze's
a striker.
he's
So
a
I was
K1 champion in
yeah.
kickboxing before.
So I was just like, yeah. And then I saw the Vegas odds, and I was like, and I know we probably beaten this horse to death too, but the fucking Jurassic Park feeding scene essentially is what took place, like where they lower the cow down into the Velociraptor pit. Like that's essentially what happened.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly right. A lot of feints to start the round. You could tell Jamie Simmons was scared to engage. He got in one clinch position, couldn't get Chikadze down. Chikadze had like nice defense, even though he gave up the body lock. Then they got separated again, and you saw him figure it out.
Yeah, he started
He
trying to find that head kick.
that
He
that
started pushing
range
his
hit him with a nice body kick. Kind of you could tell it stung Jamie Simmons, and then you could tell Chikadze, great like world champion kickboxer, knew exactly what that would do. Drops the arm the next time his leg comes up, and boom, right on the top of the head, dude. When
yeah,
they played the sound, it sounded like when a
like a
baseball gets hit.
baseball. Yep, it really did sound
Like
like that.
it was sickening and dope all at the same time.
It was. It was. I mean, I'm glad old boy seemed to bounce up from it pretty good, and it hit him kind of on the back of the head, so it didn't like rearrange his face or anything. So I mean, as far as brutal knockouts go, I mean, you know what I'm saying. He walked away from it pretty all right. And it was one of those things where I get if you're gonna get knocked the fuck out, it's honestly kind of better to get knocked out in the first round. Like, don't get beat up for 12 minutes and then get put to sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Goddamn
So
right.
he kind of got out of there like I'm sure he'll be fine. But yeah, dominant performance from Giga. Man, I mean, he's really growing on me, bro. Like, I mean, we've watched him now. He's
Yeah,
4-0 just in 2020. There's been a lot of these super active guys, and I feel like when we talk about these super active guys, Bobby Green and Kevin Holland, like he needs to be considered right up there in that mix. And he's 4-0 in
absolutely.
2020. and he's kind of like on some like put some respect on my name type shit, which I feel like he's totally warranted. Like I said, he's 4-0 in this year. He's had some really electric knockouts. This wasn't his first exciting knockout. We've covered a
Oh
few of his
yeah.
exciting
Oh yeah.
knockouts
No,
almost every time he steps in there.
he is
Um,
a monster kickboxer.
and of course, he's not going to match up well against the super elite grappler. But I mean, I feel like his grappling defense is, getting better. You can tell he works on it.
Oh yeah.
And he's a great fighter. And he was kind of to like put some respect on my name shit. Like I said, like he went over to Dana and was like, next fight, I'm either co-main or main. Like he's saying like these other guys. I think he was essentially alluding to Shimaev, which I'm not saying Chikadze and Shimaev on the same level. He needs to kind of realize that. But I think that's what he was alluding to. He was like, other fighters win 4 fights, get main event. I win 4 fights, and I get nothing. And so he was like, so he said he walked over to Dana and was like, next fight, co-main or main. Like he called out a few people. I forget
Jeremy
exactly.
Stevens.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be real. I don't know about main. A fight night co-main.
Yeah.
You earned it, dog.
Give me Chikadze, Jeremy Stevens in a fight night
Fight
co-main.
night
That makes
co-main,
sense.
dog. Like
Makes
we've
sense
seen
too.
shittier ones, like AKA last night's, but
Fucking right.
But yeah,
Andre Arlovsky, man.
so
Goddamn.
and Giga won the 50K. He got the
Yeah.
performance of the
Deserved
night.
it. Deservingly
Deserved it.
so.
It's hard to be. I mean, this is a classic example of we've seen Giga do this before, so we know it's not a fluke. But obviously, the level of competition wasn't that high in this matchup. But still, Giga's legit, as legit of a striker as you're gonna find in the featherweight division. I mean, you know what I'm saying? If it was kickboxing, I'd put him up against anybody. I said he's
Yeah.
gonna struggle with elite grapplers, and I don't. For that reason, I don't see him like rising to like get a title shot or anything. But more respect on his name, maybe a low end ranking. I'm here for it. But yeah, so yeah, I'm feeling Chikadze. I'm liking. I mean, he's done nothing but deliver.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all in with that. I don't really have much else to go with it, to be honest. Like, it was such a quick flash in the pan kind of a fight. Besides this call out of Jeremy Stevens, like, I think that's the fight. Was a co-main, and I think his points are solid.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man. Yeah, we can definitely keep it pushing. Go ahead and introduce these next fighters.
So at 135, we have Heoni Barcelos versus Khalid Taha.
Yep.
Barcelos was a minus 380, and Taha's plus 300. Barcelos is 15-1, or was 15-1. Now 16-1 to go ahead and give it away.
Yeah.
But this was I thought fight of the night, maybe. You know what I'm saying? It had that contention as well. I know we both agreed. I know it won. That's why I said maybe, like at the end. Like,
I thought
it was.
Barcelos dominated this fight. Sorry, I've been in Lake Tahoe a lot lately, guys. Taha, I mean, don't get me wrong. He landed a couple of cracks. Like, he landed some fucking missiles.
Yeah, but the volume was not even close.
Essentially, and then the numbers and essentially every other aspect of the fight.
And Barcelos was getting takedowns. He was pretty good on top. His jiu-jitsu from the bottom to get back up was good. The one time he got reversed.
Precisely. So, like I said, like I don't know. I feel like everybody was just overvaluing those kind of like select little counter shots that Taha was offering, and I feel like I don't know, man. I just like I said, Barcelos never really seemed to me to be in trouble to me. Like I don't know. But yeah,
I essentially agree with that. Yeah, I was just looking through all my notes and like, yeah, he was never in trouble. Even though I said he didn't even slow down to the last 90 seconds of the fight.
Yeah,
which he had already won the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. And Taha got rocked as hell at the end of the second and got saved by the bell. So like,
yeah. So like in the first round, Barcelos dominated both on the feet and on the ground.
Yeah. In the second round, it was essentially more of the same, except just without the takedowns.
Yeah, but there was the groin kick to Taha in the second round. We saw a lot of dick kicks last night. Pretty bad one. Not as bad as the other one, Brahimaj, but pretty gnarly groin kick to Taha. But
I would say in the third round too that Taha was tough, man. Like he was eating some shots.
Well, and also I go back to I stand by it in round 2. I think that Taha was saved by the bell.
Yeah, for sure.
Barcelos was a fucking nut hair away from ending that fight right there
Oh
to go
yeah.
to the second. So it
Oh
barely
yeah.
even made it to the third. Um, but like I mean, I even wrote down banger. Like Taha was doing just enough to like not get dominated. Like every
Yeah.
once in a while, he would land a big shot that would like kind of gain his respect. Like it wasn't domination, but I just also don't feel like there was ever really like he was never really going to win that fight to me.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like Barcelos was always in control. I mean, I scored at 30-27. All three of the judges scored at
Me too.
30-27.
Me too. Me too.
So just like we were saying earlier, if the judges and the Beefy Boys all score at the same, it's a pretty fucking clear cut fight.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Did you think the third round was Taha's best round? I thought the third round was Taha's best round, but it was kind of too little, too late.
Probably, but I still didn't think it was that close.
Yeah, no, he still lost the round. No, exactly. So yeah, like I don't know. I just don't understand how a 30-27 fight gets fight of the night. Like I said, I'll die on the hill that Elkins Grigori deserved fight of the night. But
Yeah.
whatever. Enjoy the 50 G's, boys. Who am I? I'm not trying to knock your pockets, but yeah. Now we're on to this co-main event, which was really the first shocker of the night. And man, honestly, this was the fight. I'll be completely honest, and maybe this makes me a casual, but I was looking forward to this fight a little bit more than the main event, just because we've been riding the Bozer hype train. Like I don't know. I feel very differently now, hindsight 2020. But I'll be real. Like going up to it, I was like, man, I'm ready for this Bozer fight, dog. I even posted something on my Instagram story, like
Oh no.
can't wait for this Bozer fight. I mean,
Prelims McGee.
man, I know. I drank the Kool-Aid, dog. I drank the
You,
Kool-Aid.
you
I'm
drank too
owning
much
it.
prelim Kool-Aid.
I've drank too much prelim Kool-Aid.
He
I
made
did.
it to a co-main against a vet and just couldn't fucking get. Dude, honestly,
But
Andre,
I wasn't the only one. Let's get to it here. Bozer was a minus 340 favorite.
he
So
should have won this fight.
a
He
lot of
should have been
people
able to
in
win this
Vegas
fight.
was like feeling it too. I'm not the
Like
only
no,
one
like
out here on Asshole Island.
I think Bozer should have been able to win the fight because there was only one path to victory for Andrei Arlovsky, and it's exactly what happened. And so for Bozer to not have fight a better fight and to like actually take some chances, because like Arlovsky's chin is very questionable, and it's been shown multiple times recently, and it's
But
been
I think
also
it
shown that
goes to
he,
Bozer's coaches because they went into it with like a counter punching game plan and then like no
yeah,
alternative game plan. Like
right,
you know
like,
what I'm saying? So
yeah, exactly. Like Arlovsky does not lead the action nowadays at all.
yeah. And he admits that. He was like literally talking about that. Yeah, Arlovsky was a plus 270 underdog, heavyweight fight. And I mean, Bozer is this really interesting up and comer. He fights heavyweight. The heavyweight cutoff is what, 265, right?
Yeah,
And Bozer fights at like barely 230.
like 232. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so he doesn't cut any weight really. He's known for being like a smaller, faster striker in the heavyweight division. Really been on the up and coming. We've done a few Beefy Boys on him. I mean, he's starched everybody he's really been in the ring with. So there's a lot of hype behind him. He had a nice, little hype train behind him, and I was on board, all aboard hype train. You know how I like to do.
Oh yeah.
I'm a frequent flyer on the hype train. But so I was really excited to see because this was his first like legit test. Like Harrison alluded to a second ago, call me prelim McGee. A lot of these other guys he starched were like lower end guys, prelim guys. I don't know, debuts, old veterans on their way out. Just not necessarily top end competition. And so this was his true test. I mean, Arlovsky's older, but I mean Arlovsky is still like certified. You know what I mean? He's legit UFC fighter
Oh
heavyweight.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Like he has
so
legit skills.
this was kind of like his gatekeeper moment. Like they were using Arlovsky as the gatekeeper. Bozer was the young up and comer with the head of steam. Classic gatekeeper UFC matchup. Like we alluded to earlier, probably questionable that this was the co-main, but I think that speaks to how popular Tanner Bozer's hype
Yeah.
train. Yeah,
The mullet's easy to sell. Well,
marketable.
how'd you score the first?
So I literally, first off, not the most exciting fight. I literally my notes for round one was stagnant, but Bozer more active, largely with the leg kicks. That was kind of a theme of the night. Bozer was honestly throwing a lot of really good leg kicks,
Yeah.
and he was. Now I mean Arlovsky was kind of taking him like a G, maybe even checking a couple of them, but Bozer's leg kicks were impressive, like most of the night, and I think that was another part of his strategy that just maybe didn't resonate with the judges. But I did give round one to Bozer. How about you?
I actually did as well. Like literally what I said is that Arlovsky kind of caught him hard at the end, but Bozer was more active and
More
just like
active.
just kind of landed like for like the lack of shit that was done, he led the action. So it was like,
Exactly. It's so like it feels like even wrong to like use the word active because essentially round one was a fucking like just man, I don't know. It's like if you ever played Battleship and like neither one of you guys are hitting shit for like the first however many
oh
minutes.
yeah,
Like it just they were both trying to find the range. It was like they I think Cruz alluded to it. It was like counterpuncher versus counterpuncher, and like if a counterpuncher has nothing to counter, it doesn't result in a whole lot, and that's kind of what. But that's what I'm saying. So in this moment where like nothing was really happening and they were dancing around on the outside, Bozer was at least landing leg kicks in the first round. So that's why,
right.
like, yeah, I gave round one to Bozer. But man, that was a round two was definitely I gave to Arlovsky, right? You gave to Arlovsky
Yeah.
round
Oh yeah, he
two.
started
Yeah, yeah.
landing some pretty big shots, I thought.
Yeah, I thought Bozer was hurt. Like
Me
in the
too.
last fight, I said that like I never really felt like Taha was gonna win the fight. In round two, you started to be like, "Oh shit, not me. I don't know about this Bozer." I'll be real. I was about this fucking close to putting $50 on Bozer. Like I was like I said, feeling the hype train. I was about a fucking nut hair away from putting 50 on Bozer. So I'm super glad I didn't. But like
See,
round two, I would have been losing my mind in round two if I had put that money on Bozer.
I thought Bozer honestly would have come with a better game plan. Like I in my notes before the fight, like I even thought or I said like I think he'll figure it out and like get an effective striking combination working, right? Like where he leads in. He never did that. And it let Arlovsky get that like weird decision vibe where it's like if this goes to a decision, does Andre Arlovsky lose? Because he has a knack for winning these like low activity fights.
Yeah, well, and Bozer has a reputation for not going to decisions. He's a knockout specialist. He throws hands, and that's what he's done so far in the UFC. So yeah, I honestly I bet a bunch of people probably bet the under 1.5 and lost that. Like
Yeah,
I bet Vegas killed on the under 1.5 bet. Um, but anyway, so yeah, round two. So I had it one round to one round.
me too.
19-19 going into round three. And then I want to hear your takes on round three. I'm gonna throw you under the bus first.
Man, round three was just like Bozer was getting, he kind of got back to his leg kicks, but then it
Yeah,
was like Arlovsky was still connecting. And then, but Bozer kind of was connecting too. It was like a real toss up for me. Like I
me
wrote in
too.
my notes that like no one's going to get robbed because this round's a complete toss up. I
Yes.
kind of leaned Bozer,
Okay. So
but I'm not making any noise about that decision being to
no,
Arlovsky.
it was so close. It was so close. And like just keeping it real, if Bozer wanted to win this fight, he was gonna win it in the first two rounds, in my opinion. Just his
Yeah.
style of fighting. So the fact that it even made it to decision kind of favors Arlovsky to begin with.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but but specifically addressing the third round, um, it was the classic example of quantity versus quality. Um, leg kicks included, Bozer outpointed the shit out of Arlovsky in round three.
Right.
However, Arlovsky was never in a lick of trouble at all. He was never in danger. While Arlovsky landed really only a couple of good shots in the
They were
third
pretty big
round,
shots though.
Bozer was like legit hurt and like just watching the fight, you were like, "Oh, is this it?" Like you kind of leaned up
Like
on the
the
edge of
eye
your
like the eye test was leaning toward Arlovsky for sure, unless you were just appreciating the quantity or like the volume.
which is where, and we've talked about this a million times, is just how it's super subjective. Yeah, because if I've seen judges that would have scored that for Bozer off the quantity and the leg kicks, and there's certain judges that are like, if you outpoint them, I don't give a fuck how hard he hits you. You outpointed the fuck out of him, and I'm you. So and it's so subjective. And then there's other judges apparently, which were judging this fight, that are like, more
Damage. They
damage
value
based,
damage.
or who hurt who, or who got closer to finishing who. And it just really depends on what lens you're viewing it through. If you're viewing it through like a kind of like a karate point scoring system, then Bozer won the fuck out of this fight. But if
Yeah.
you're viewing it through like you know what I'm saying, who like more of a street fight kind of like sense, like who whooped whose ass, who hurt who more, who got closer to finishing who, and then I think it's no question it's Arlovsky. And there's really a solid ass argument to be made for both guys. When it was all said and done, and this is the part that I found interesting, the judges seemed to all agree with each other that it was
Yeah, they all, yeah.
all
29-28
three judges
Arlovsky.
29-28 Arlovsky. Yeah, so I thought that was a little interesting. So I'm assuming they gave Arlovsky 2 and 3 and
Yeah,
Bozer
for
1.
sure.
But I
Maybe. There might have been a judge that actually gave 1 to Arlovsky and 2 to Arlovsky and 3 to Bozer.
it would be really
Sometimes those
interesting to see
judges
the
do
round
shit
by
like that,
round.
which is
Yeah.
weird.
So it'd be really interesting to see the round by round breakdown of the judges. But yeah, I don't know. I'm shocked. Like if it would have been a split decision, I don't know. I'm just shocked that all three judges saw it the same way. But like I said, maybe they didn't. Maybe it just looks that way on paper. But yeah, all three judges unanimous decision, 29-28 Arlovsky. Bozer was shocked, which kind of lets you know that like the leg kick outpointing him was kind of a part of his game plan, maybe, which seems
Oh, yeah.
stupid. Which seems like a stupid game plan. Like his game plan should have been out there like go starts the old guy, right? Like especially like a young power puncher,
Yeah,
a young lion. Like he should have
that's what
like
I'm
his game
saying. Like,
plan should have been like foot on the gas, right?
yeah, I thought he would figure that out, but he just did not. And like, he let Arlovsky make this one of those weird fights that drags to a decision, which is like, that's Arlovsky's specialty recently.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know. I don't think Tanner Bozer's career is derailed. Hype Train's definitely gonna lose steam, which may be good for him. Maybe he was reading his own press clippings a little bit. And yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Bozer, because it's just weird, man. Like if Bozer would have gotten like out grappled, I would have been like, like yeah, Bozer's not that good of a grappler, but he kind of got outstruck in a way, which
Oh, yeah.
like I don't know. He kind of got beat at his own game plan. I don't know. It does make you kind of pause and wonder, like what Bozer's ceiling is. Where as of, if you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I thought, in the words of Michael Jordan, that Bozer's ceiling was the roof. And like, but I don't know. It's just interesting. Life comes at you fast in the UFC, right?
Yeah, hell yeah. Especially at heavyweight, because you get the heavyweights are all like top 15 heavyweights are all like they have something. Each one of them has something they do well. And you just
Yeah.
have to be able to, it's all matchups in the heavyweight division, to be honest. It's mostly
That's
matchups.
fair. That's fair.
Like besides Ngannou, because Ngannou just starches everyone now, apparently. That dude, I can't wait to see him fight again.
Like me too. I'm really looking forward to seeing him fight again. Man, now we're on to the main event. Thiago Santos, who we last saw in the octagon against the John Jones, and then
Yeah,
versus
Lama.
Glover Teixeira, who we last saw knocking was it Anthony Smith's teeth out of his head, right? That was the last time we saw Teixeira.
Bingo.
Yeah, so
Bingo.
both of these guys just kind of different feels coming in. I feel like this fight we need to do a good job of setting the scene, right? Because Santos, I think it was like 18 months ago is when he fought
18
John
months.
Jones.
Yep, and he
And he
tore his
tore
ACL and
ligament.
MCL.
Yeah, and in both knees, right? Or
No, both. So he tore his ACL and MCL in his one knee, and then I think he also did something to his other knee.
something to the other knee, yeah.
But I think that was when he was rehabbing. I'm pretty sure he hurt his other knee and
really?
rehab from it.
Okay, yeah. So he's coming off some bad injuries, but it's also important to note that a lot of people, and not even casuals, like a lot of legit MMA people, had Santos winning. If you guys don't remember, Santos and John Jones went to decision, and a lot of people say
split decision.
Split decision, close as fuck, and a lot of people say Santos got robbed.
You know what's weird is I scored that one for John Jones, but I did score the Dominic Reyes fight for Dominic Reyes against John Jones.
Yeah. So he was part of those past couple of kind of shaky appearances from John Jones, and I think it's also fair to say that we didn't get John's best in either of those fights.
No, he was not up for those fights. Like he didn't want to even fight those dudes.
Like I said, just setting the scene. So Santos was like in a way high and low at the same time, coming off of an all-time performance against an all-time great, but also coming off of severe career-threatening injuries. And then Teixeira is coming off of this last fight with it's Anthony Smith, right?
Yeah,
Anthony Smith, who I think a lot of people, ourselves included, thought Anthony Smith was going to win, and then Teixeira quite literally beat the teeth out of Anthony Smith's
it
skull,
was hard. It was
beat
hard to
the fuck
watch.
out of him, like it was so gnarly, and
I wanted the corner to throw in the towel in that fight, and
yeah,
they didn't. It was
and that was
tough.
one of our early Beefy Boys episodes. We covered that,
Yeah,
and Teixeira's 41 years old, and it's like one of these things where like the UFC, everybody, the fans are kind of like ready to move on from him, but he
yeah.
just keeps
I'm waiting
winning.
for I'm waiting for Glover to like get bad and like to lose against the top five guy and just be like, okay, gatekeeper time, it's over. But he
Yeah,
just is on this run now, five in a
yeah,
row,
five in a row against top flight
and just
competition.
beat the number one guy. And I know that the
Okay,
talk is, well, we
we're
should
gonna
get
get
into
into
it.
it. Yeah, we're gonna. I want to have a whole like segment for that. So let's break down the actual fight. Tiago Santos minus 240 favorite, the number one ranked lightweight challenger versus Glover Teixeira plus 200 underdog, number three contender in the light heavyweight. I'm sorry if I said light heavyweight 205 division, and yeah, and like we said, Glover Teixeira is 41 years old. Kind of by most people would assume he's kind of getting towards the end until you see him fight, and
Until
then
you see the opening sequence.
yeah, and
Like,
then by just eye test, Santos is in there looking like a young like NFL player. He's just like this jacked young stud. I mean, he's not that young, but he looks old. Hell, especially when he stands next to Glover Teixeira, he looks young,
yeah, I was gonna
and
say compared
he
to
looks
41-year-old Glover, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like I test you just like, oh damn, this might like if you're a casual just watching, you don't know shit, you're like, damn, this might not go so well for the old guy. And then the fight starts.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Good
bro,
way to
for
describe
real.
it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. Because man, I
well,
thought round one Teixeira came out the gates just looking fantastic and got round one. I gave him round one. The
yeah,
ground and
I did,
pound
I
was
did, I did
fucking
too.
gnarly. Gave Santos all he wanted in the takedown and the ground and pound. Just dominant,
Yeah.
honestly dominant. Like round one was really dominant. Round two even more dominant, which is why round two I have to question like, would you give round two a 10-8?
Oh, for sure. That's as close as you can get to losing the fight and being saved by the bell as humanly
Saved by the
possible.
bell.
Like he literally he would have tapped in probably 3 more seconds,
If that,
maybe
yeah,
less.
yeah, and like, and then before the sub attempt, he was getting smashed like ground and pound, like beat, like literally, like Santos's head was getting bounced off the canvas with elbows. It was
It
like,
was Glover
it
had
was like
nice elbows and good top control.
to me, it was like fairly apparent, fairly early on that like Santos was like probably jumped the gun on coming back from those knees.
But he rocked Glover twice, like
Oh yeah, man,
big time.
I'm totally glossing over that. Yeah, so
Like he damn
it,
near dropped him
was
in
that
the
in the
first
first
round and
round?
ended
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, when the fight first
that was
started,
how you
like
got a takedown.
you're right, you're right. So yeah, Santos was rocking Teixeira, like landed some
Like
big
big
shots.
shots. Yeah,
Teixeira has an infamously like iron chin. He can eat a shot.
except from Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Facts. And then but yeah, so Teixeira essentially like somehow survived what would have knocked out many lesser men, and he survived and ended up in the takedown and ended up almost winning the fight. So you're right, it wasn't total domination in round one. That's what kept round one from being a 10-8. I'm actually glad you brought that up. I was kind of having some
Right.
revisionist history here, but yeah, but round two
Round
was
two
not.
was a
Round two
10-8.
was a 10-8. It was
Yeah.
dominant. Like he was literally just bouncing his fucking head off the canvas with elbows, and then like got a fucking dick hair away from getting a sub, and then
Dude, and then the third, fucking Santos drops Glover to start the round and
yeah,
then
yeah,
subsequently gets his back taken and is just done.
yeah. So round three, Santos got so close to winning the fight. Like
I mean, good God.
I just started screaming because I like my wife was
Yeah.
in the room. and she wasn't really paying attention to the fight. She's on her phone or whatever. And I was like, babe, like this is a fucking amazing fight.
This is a heater. This is a heater.
Yeah, man. Because like I said, man. So opening, it starts off. Santos almost gets a knockout, and then Teixeira goes on to dominate like 1.75 rounds, like just ground and pound, almost getting to finish himself. And then start of round 3, Santos almost gets another finish, beats lands some insanely heavy shots on Teixeira that like finishes like 9 out of 10 guys. And then, but Teixeira once again iron chins it, somehow ends up taking his
Reverses him.
back. He reverses
Yeah.
him, takes his back after getting just goddamn piss missiled in the jaw. And then he ends up getting the rear naked choke for the sub. My final notes on this, just in all caps, insane.
Oh yeah, yeah. I just have wow, like all
Yeah,
caps.
yeah. It's like
A great
when
fight, like great
when
main
you're
event.
a kid watching the goddamn fireworks show, and there's like a
Yeah.
badass firework, and you're like, oh, that has to be the fucking finale. And then it keeps going, and you're like, oh shit, and then something else big goes off, and you're like, oh, I bet that was the finale. And then this fucking
Da, da,
fight
da, da,
was
da, da,
a
da, da.
real fucking finale. And then it just goes
Yeah.
on and on and on and on, and you're like, oh, this is the finale. But like, that's what it reminded me of, because like, I don't know, man, like, so many good fights on the card. I mean, so many exciting finishes, and then you're kind of, it always crescendos, right? Or you want it to crescendo in the main event, but sometimes it's hard to live up to all the hype in the main event. It sometimes falls flat, but goddamn, this was like that real fucking firework grand finale, like that just really ended the card with a banger.
I thought Thiago Santos's conditioning looked a little suspect.
Yeah, but I mean, that has to be directly connected with the knees, right? Like, yeah, it's not like this fool's
That's what I
been
mean. Yeah.
able to run miles. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that was a big problem for him, and that
I think
the
he
longer that
rushed
fight
it
would have gone,
coming
the more
back.
Glover would have. Yeah, yeah.
But I also feel like there was probably pressure on him to rush it back because
With
of
the
the
number
whole
one
Izzy
ranking,
situation.
and yeah,
Yes, yeah. So tricky scenario there. Like tricky scenario there. I guarantee you probably every orthopedic surgeon in America would have probably told him like, hey, another 6 months, homie. Like,
so what? Well, what's next for the division in your
yeah,
mind?
yes. This is where it gets fun. To me, and this might potentially be an unpopular take, but to me, we're gonna get full bro science here. Got to turn this back up.
Because
Sorry.
I think Izzy Blachowicz is what the UFC wants.
Yeah, yeah. So, and
I don't know what you think should happen, but that's the UFC wants.
I think we're too far down the Izzy Blachowicz road to like pump the brakes on that.
I think so too. Like I think that fight's already pretty much sold to the public.
Exactly, and and this is one of those rare scenarios where Izzy's star power like supersedes like what's going on at the top end of the 205. Because
He is like the Conor McGregor essentially of the middle, like that middle division
bigger
weight.
guys, because
Like 70, 85, he is the biggest star in that range.
you can bang the table saying Teixeira deserves it all you want. If you're the company that's trying to make money off this, there's just literally no argument to be made.
Right.
Adesanya Blachowicz, honestly, Teixeira Blachowicz is like probably like the co-main on another pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Like that's not getting its own pay-per-view, Blachowicz Teixeira, or it's gonna what? Are you gonna have a belt on a fight night? Like, you know what I'm
Well,
saying?
no, I mean it would have to be on a pay-per-view, but I don't it wouldn't be the main event. It would be a co-main event probably
It'd
to
be
a
a
bigger main
co-main.
event title.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Or maybe even one of those crazy cards with 3 belts, or
Yeah.
like they throw a women's belt on there too, or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's just you make and this is coming from Rankings McGee. Like some people may expect me to take a different position here, but to me, you gotta do Izzy Blachowicz, and
Because it sets up the John Jones fight too.
well, and honestly, to me, it sets up an interim 205 fight because I don't see Izzy defending the 205 belt if he gets it. I think he just wants to get
You
it
don't
and build
think?
his leg.
Well, he would have to
I
fight Glover, and I think he would fuck Glover Teixeira up.
But that's what I'm saying. But you don't do the Glover fight before the John Jones fight. The game plan's already set. It's Blachowicz Jones.
I mean, yeah, but John Jones has to get a fight in between there, doesn't he? You don't think? You think John Jones can just chill, and then fight Izzy out of like last fight, Dominic Reyes?
Well, that's what's also so weird because John
Like, I need
Jones
to
is
see John Jones fight a heavyweight.
a heavyweight. But why to come back and fight Izzy at 205? Like does the Izzy
What if they do
205
it?
fight
What if they do like a
distract
250? What if they do like a 210 catch weight?
for like the Lank belt, like instead of the BMF belt, the like King Lank belt, like
King Lank, the goat belt. They can just call that one the goat belt. They can go ahead.
no, they
You,
can't. Because
if
Izzy, if he beat, Izzy jumps Khabib if he beats Jones. Is that what we're
of course,
saying here?
yeah, of course.
Oh, damn, that's spicy. That's
I feel
fun.
like you like steal the star power. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what Khabib did to
But is that
McGregor.
like recency bias or like
That's what
fact?
Khabib did to McGregor. Khabib wasn't nearly as big until he choked out Conor McGregor.
Fact.
If Izzy stopped John Jones, all that star power goes. Who's ever stopped John Jones? Not a man alive. Who's ever gotten
Well, I
close?
mean, some people
Few people.
argue Santos and fucking Reyes.
Stopped him. Stopped him. I'm saying stopped him, not beat him in a
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah, true. But what if Izzy beats him in a decision? Oh,
I mean, that still is going to be a better fight because John will at least come after him.
man. So I don't know. I think the nightmare scenario is that Blachowicz beats Izzy
Jesus Christ.
defends it against Glover, and the UFC just hemorrhages money on that.
And if he beats Izzy, Izzy doesn't lose any stock at middleweight because, it's just like he came up. So that's really a win-win for Izzy for the most part, except for the fact of,
He
like,
loses out on
don't
the Jones.
lose. Yeah, right.
Do you
Yeah,
think? Because I think if Izzy loses the Blachowicz, they don't put him.
oh,
on
no
the
chance.
Jones.
John Jones will immediately say, well, if you can't handle those boys,
Yeah.
like, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, and man, and it sucks because I really do like Blachowicz, and like I was glad to see him win the belt, but just when you start mixing in these caliber of names, like I'm not even sure Blachowicz can beat Teixeira. Like I'd probably bet Teixeira, especially if you can get him as an underdog. Could you imagine if you can get Teixeira at like plus 170? Like I'm taking that
Yeah.
all day to the
Hey,
bank.
let me ask you this about the Jones-Izzy situation. Who does John Jones fight at heavyweight? It can't be Ngannou or Stipe. That's fucked. You can't do that. You can't. You're killing a star when you do that, unless it's Stipe, because
See,
you can
I
kill
think it's
Stipe.
Stipe.
You can kill Stipe, but you can't
you
get John
kill.
Jones an immediate jump to the champ. Well, we're talking about Izzy doing it. Why can't
We're
John do it?
talking about John.
John, the greatest fighter of all time ever. Yeah, he gets to do it. Yeah. All right, he
Well,
gets to. Yeah.
wait up. No, what's coming up? Who is Derek Coleman fighting? Or is it Derek Coleman? Who's the Black Beast?
Lewis.
Derek Lewis. He's fighting somebody real soon.
Yes, he is, and I
Fuck,
don't
I'm
know off
on
the
my
top of my head who it
laptop.
is.
But he's headlining a fight night in like 2 weeks.
Oh
Derek
shit!
Lewis.
Okay,
Who's
I didn't even realize
fighting?
that. I didn't realize.
Fuck.
I don't know. You saw Prohaska got booked though, right? You sent me that.
Prohaska did get booked. Damn, dog. I feel so whack for not knowing. But what I'm saying is, if Derek Lewis or whoever he's fighting, which is another top end heavyweight, is the
Was it Dos
winner of that.
Santos? Junior Dos Santos? No.
Maybe. I don't. I'm drawing a blank, and I apologize to everybody watching. But
Overeem?
no, it's not Overeem. Overeem's on like vacation on Instagram flexing right now. Fuck.
When is he not flexing?
Yeah, man. But goddamn it, I'm sorry, everybody. But he has a top end fight coming up. That's a headliner on one of these fight nights. So we'll definitely do a breakdown over it. But what I'm saying is, does the winner of that fight get Jones? You know what I'm saying? But as a step to giving Jones the title shot, because I feel you, Jones straight to the title shot is gonna piss a lot of people off. Or I don't know, dude. Honestly, it's Jones and Ghana. That makes probably a lot of sense, right?
Oh, is it Rosenstrike?
It is Rosenstrike. It is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
Jones
Louis
hasn't Jones already
Rosenstrike.
beat Rosenstrike or no?
No.
No, okay, yeah,
No.
never mind. That was stupid. But so maybe I think that's what it is then, right? That has to be it.
Yeah.
Lewis Rosenstrike, and you're right. That's exactly what the fight is. Which is going to be a great fight. Winner of that gets Jones. If Jones gets that,
I think he
you
beats either of
you
those
think
guys without a problem.
me too, which is the whole point of the fight. To then, no, real talk, just from a build up, like a narrative perspective, then Jones has full right at either the heavyweight belt or if the Izzy fight, whatever fight comes first, the heavyweight belt or the Izzy fight, right?
Well, again, at that point, I think the move is Jones Izzy and Ngannou Stipe too, because then you just make Stipe keep sitting and deny
You're
him the
right.
Jones fight because the Jones fight with Izzy is a better sell there.
It is.
And then
And
you
then
force
if
Ngannou to
Jones
get his
beats,
shot.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you might get
I
Jones and
think
Ngannou
that's
back for the heavyweight crown where he tries to go 2 belts at once after already beating Izzy. Like what? And that might end his career. Can you imagine if Jones goes to heavyweight, beats Lewis or Rosenstruik, comes back down, beats Izzy, goes back up and beats Ngannou, and then is just retired? What a fucking legend.
then just like literally goes and like pisses on Habib's grave. Like as the GOAT, I mean, like GOAT
Dude.
argument would be over for sure.
Yeah, it would be over.
Oh man,
Over,
but
over.
man, a lot
I
of fun
think,
to think about. A lot of fun to think about.
yeah, I think that's my ideal moves going forward. You know what the next card coming up is? It's Islam Makhachev and
Yes.
Rafael Dos Nachos.
Yeah, yeah. It does not. I mean, you gotta like Makachev in that one, right?
Oh yeah, I expect
Yeah,
Islam to fucking slice
me
through him.
too. That's kind of
For
a
anyone that
bad
doesn't know,
matchup.
Islam is like Khabib's literal training partner, but also
Yeah,
like foil. Like he's like just like the man.
and he's like tall, right? Isn't he like taller?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
longer.
Oh man. Well, I'll be real. I'm about to piss myself, and we've covered all the fights. So that wraps up episode 23 of Beefy Boys Breakdown. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week to break down those fights, and a lot of fun as always, my brother.
See you next week.